Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, Vidyanagar Class, Bangalore, Section Astrostat, USN 1VE23 AC029, Class BE Course Electronics and Communication Engineering, Subject Mathematics. Introduction to Z transformers. In mathematics and signal processing, the Z transform converts a discrete time signal, which is a sequence of real or complex numbers, into a complex frequency domain representation. The basic idea known as the Z transform was known to Laplace, and it was reintroduced in 1947 by W. Urewicz and others as a way to treat sampled data control systems used with radar. Z transform provides a valuable technique for the analysis and design of discrete time signals and discrete time LTI systems. Advantages of the Z transform: discrete time signals and LTI systems can be completely characterized by Z transform. The stability of LTI system can be determined by Z transform. Mathematical calculations are introduced using Z transform. DFT and FT can be determined by calculating Z transform of the signal. Entire family of digital filter can be obtained one prototype design using the Z transform. The solution of differential equations can be simplified using Z transform. Definition: Z transform. Bilateral or two-sided Z transform. X is equals to Z x by n is equals to n is equals to minus infinity to infinity x bar is equals to minus 1 n. Equation 1. Unilateral or single sided Z transform. X of Z is equals to Z x by n is equals to summation of n is equals to 0 to infinity summation of x is equals to n z power minus n. Equation 2: Z is equals to a e power theta a into cos pi plus j sin pi. ROC of the Z transform. Region of convergence. ROC of xz is set off for all the values of z for which x of z attains a finite value. Example figure shows a motor and a gear train that we might use in a servo system. Here the difference equation that describes the plant might look like xn is equals to a plus 1 xn minus 1 minus a xn minus 2 plus b un is equals to 1. Properties of Z transform. Property notation: time domain x of n, x1 of n, x2 of n. Z domain x of z, x1 of z, x2 of z. ROC is R2 less than magnitude of Z less than R1, ROC1, ROC2. Linearity: A1 x1 of n plus A2 x2 of n, A1 x1 of z plus A2 x2 of z. At least ROC1 is to ROC2, at least ROC except Z is equals to 0 if k greater than 0 and Z is equals to infinity if k less than 0. Z scaling: A power n into n x of a inverse of 1 Z magnitude of a R2 less than magnitude of Z less than magnitude of a into R1. Time reversal: x of minus n x into z power minus 1 1 by r1 less than magnitude of z less than 1 by r2. Z differential: n into f n of n minus z dx by dz of z r2 less than magnitude of z less than r1. Convolution: x1 of n into x2 of n x1 of z x2 of z. At least ROC1 ROC2. Linearity: ax1 of n plus bx2 of n ax1 into z plus bx2 of z. Proof: z of ax1 n plus bx2 of n is equals to summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity ax1 n plus bx2 of n z power minus 1 to summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity ax1 of n z power minus n plus summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity bx2 of n z power minus n is equals to x1 of z plus x2 of z. Time shift: x n minus n naught z power minus n naught in xz. Proof: zx n minus n naught is equals to summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity n minus n naught z power minus n is equals to summation of m is equals to minus infinity to infinity into m z power minus m plus n naught. M is equals to minus infinity to infinity into m z power minus m z power minus n naught is equals to z power minus n naught. Summation of n is equal m is equals to minus infinity to infinity into m z power minus m is equals to z power minus n naught into z. What was the analog for CT signals and the Laplace transform? Multiplication by n nx of n minus z dx by z of z. Proof exact is equals to summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity into n z4 minus n dx of z by dz minus is equals to minus n summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity x into n z4 minus n minus 1 that is equals to minus z dx of z by dz is equals to n into summation of n is equals to minus infinity to infinity x into n z4 minus n is equals to z into nx of n. Thank you for watching.